Hi Taurus, here is a general look at your solar chart for May 2016, and may I wish you a happy birthday. Here's Diana reporting to you from a cozy little camper van in the orange growing area of Spain. Beautiful heady perfumes of orange blossoms in the air, and lots of hundreds and thousands of little trees loaded down to the gunnels with beautiful big Spanish oranges, and all of that beautiful perfume mixed in with the smell of the sea and the Mediterranean pine. So it's really very nice to be here in the spring. It's quite a treat. So there's a lot of fantasy wafting around. There's a lot of, just in a general way, we've had a lot of Jupiter Neptune. If this is May when you're listening to this, you've got Jupiter Neptune more, and that Jupiter Neptune comes on into just the beginning of June, but then it's followed immediately by the closing of the degree of Saturn and Neptune. So that it puts a different face on it. It gives it a more grounded feel. It makes it more real. But this Jupiter-Neptune thing means that some of you could be over-idealizing somebody or something, or indeed fantasizing or worrying even, stressing over things that probably are never going to happen. That tends to come in more in June though, with Saturn in the mix. Just failing to see people or things as they really are, warts and all, or maybe you've added a few warts and as a matter of fact they don't deserve it. So it depends on where you're at. You could be feeling as though things are up in the air, that things have been ambiguous. That would be the Jupiter-Neptune thing. You could be escaping from certain things, or feeling that others are evading certain things. And you could also, another way this could be working, expanding too far, too fast. And with expectations which are way beyond, you know, what is actually doable. So now that we're getting Saturn in June, this is bringing the whole thing down to earth more. And this is not just for your sign, by the way. This is a general vibe going on, because these planets are very close by degree. So it's affecting us all depending on where we're at and what was going on in our natal charts of the positions of these planets, and various other things. But there's been a lot of fantasy, dreams, idealization wafting about the planet. For you, Taurus, there will have been the feeling of endings and beginnings going on, but all with friends. With groups that you're used to hanging out with, maybe, or with getting into a new type of group, connecting with a new sort of social circle, that kind of thing. It can be like that. It is actually quite supportive for you. Saturn, of course, Mars, of course, is in your opposite sign, and Saturn is in an area where something underlying may be bugging you emotionally, and this is quite a long transit. But anyway, with the position of Jupiter just now, and also Neptune just now, these two are actually in really very supportive areas, which means you get them in their good mood. You get them delivering at a sort of like at their best. I was going to say at their very best, but it all depends on how we play it, because it's not the planets that are making decisions about us, and it's the planetary weather vibrating around us, and it's how we're responding, how we're tapping into it, how we're using it, how we are, you know, maybe kind of feeling it weighing on us, depending on what the planet is and when it's happening. But so it's our response, you see. These are completely impartial energies. So it is. I call it. You know. I call it what do I call it? I call it, yeah, I sort of call it cosmic weather, really, astrological weather. So anyway, at this time we've got to strive to be realistic. Now we're getting Saturn in the mix. Saturn is no nonsense. I want to know about the mechanics of this. I want to see the how of being able to achieve something. I want to give you a challenge to push against sometimes, and I'm going to help you to build something from the foundations up. So Saturn is the great builder, so we mustn't, at this time, we've got to try and be realistic without being too pessimistic. That is undermining. It's also lowering of the vibration if we fall into pessimism, if we allow others to press our fear buttons. And also, all that glitters is not gold, you know. I mean, even though we are being told certain things, we might be being led astray. We might be being led up the garden path over something. So, you know what? You have to do what you feel in your deep gut is the right thing to do. We've all got our compass in there, pointing us to the place of our healing, the place of our happiness and love and kind of comfort. So without all the other shouting in the head, and of course we have to, of course, use our minds to work things out, but listen to that other part first, that more ancient primordial part first. That is what I would say anyway. So really, this is going to be a period when there's a danger of getting things out of proportion, or shooting ourselves in the foot, or letting somebody else shoot us in the foot, and this because we believed in them. And this is a time, finally, Saturn coming in here, that will tend to make the scales drop from the eyes, whether we have over-idealized or indeed, you know, completely ignored somebody's qualities and what their value is to us. You know, that also is another way of this working, you know. And so this is the time to really strive to balance the ultimate ideal with how it can be ploddingly achieved on the timeline. This is no time to leap into new beginnings on anything, because we do at the moment have Mars going retrograde. So this is not a time for major leap forwards into very, very new things. And brave new worlds, you know, this is not the time for it, because they usually kind of will go to worms if that's done under a Mars retrograde time. Mars goes direct on the 29th of June. So this is a time for steadily driving forwards with goals where you can, you know, you keep your feet on the ground, and it's yeah, you know, it's not going to be easy, but you're going to get there. Some Saturn-Neptune suggestions is to work consistently for the common good. This is a great thing to be doing. Also, as you are a member, as I am, of the common people, so is to work consistently for your own common good. Is to dream, is to listen to music, is to read stories, is to write stories, is to meditate, is connect with the divas in nature, is just connect with nature. But I expect there'll be a diva or two kind of looking in, or the angels in the architecture spinning in infinity, and a fab time for working with the law of attraction, for instance, and manifesting, getting something as you would like it to be, but steady as you go. In other words, do whatever uplifts or refines your nature and soothes your heart, and also makes you feel well, so the feel-good factor as well. And this transit is a long-term transit. This is coming in now again. It was in and out over last year. We had Ebola, because there's lots of other things about this transit as well. You know, refugees coming in their hordes, these poor people leaving their much beloved land, that it has become so dangerous because of the toxic minds of those who are running it there, and who have just put no value on life or respect for life. So but they want to go back. You know, I mean, you'd want to go back, wouldn't you? So anyhow, there's more about this on my website, DianaGarland.com. The Saturn-Neptune transit. Okay, other stuff? Well, the first week, vitality could be taking a dip. Confidence maybe, not a great time to be putting yourself forward to doing anything major there. Just those first kind of 5 days there. We've got some Saturn hanging around over the Sun and Mercury, and what do we got? Actually, it was Sun and Mercury and Venus, yeah. So, yeah, just being aware of that. And having to deal with authority figures might be a little bit challenging, or other things, you just could feel more on your shoulders, or maybe there isn't more on your shoulders really, but your vitality's down, your belief is down, your confidence is, whatever it is, so then you feel it heavier on you. So there's that, and then there's the right at the end of the month, and then we've got some Neptune around as well, which is like, again, that kind of slight confusion, slight ambiguity going on there as well. That's over the first 3 days. But again, listening to that higher guidance, that is the great thing to be doing whenever Neptune's around. But not, you've got to read between the lines, because you've got to kind of mesh higher guidance with the kind of the realities of day-to-day living. But yeah, there could be people out there that we kind of we get led up the garden path with what they're projecting, what they're putting out there, and then of course, because there's so much Neptune, Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, it could just start to melt away and dissolve. But so don't take a gamble, because later on it's just dissolving. It's a long transit, that's what I was going to say. It goes on till October, you see. So other news, yeah, right at the end of the first week, watch out for, and also right at the end of the month, we got some intensity going on there in relationship, or maybe it's not like that, maybe it's passion, or maybe it's not like that, maybe it's to do with money and property, possessions and the like, and that goes on into the first couple of days of July. So other news is from the beginning of the month, we have Venus and the Sun in an area concerning money, property, possessions, basic stuff, anything which affects material security, and also well-being. That might be your own, or it might be somebody else's. So key themes are centered around stuff. It might be your stuff, it might be somebody else's stuff, it might be you having to maintain it, repair it, protect it, guard it. It might not be like that. It might be ditching it, pruning it down, or indeed getting your hands on more. And under stuff, I also do mean money. So we're always trying to get our hands on more. So looking at how to improve things on that level, practical, physical, material level, which as well could mean you're looking to improve well-being, and your own or somebody else's, and seeing what you can make of the resources you have, or the abilities you have. See, it's about abilities and talents, this area here as well. So when I say resources, I don't just mean physical stuff out there. I mean more internal stuff that you came into this walk of life with. So now Mercury's in your sign, so busy in the head, or maybe paperwork, maybe the phone going, Skype going, people knocking on the door. It could be a little bit like that, but definitely you're in the stream of information exchange. You are keeping your eyes and ears peeled. You are alert to what's new on the block, as it were, or you could be. You might have to, or it might not be like that. It might be that you just got to get your head around stuff. You've got to learn stuff. It just means that your mental processes tend to be accelerated, and you can feel a bit scattered. So engineer quiet spaces for yourself. And then we have Mercury moving on the 13th into the same area as the Sun and Venus. Conversations having a practical slant, looking at things from those kind of material ways, physical ways, resources, what you can do with your own talents, etc. Now, from the 18th, Venus moves out of there. The Sun doesn't move out of there until the 21st, but Venus moves on the 18th and goes into a very sociable sector. Again, this sort of chatty, sociable air, feel to it, and can help you to be articulate in your expression. Not so scattered with this position here, not so kind of frazzled really with information coming at you or having to learn stuff as in the previous position up until the 13th with Mercury. This one is you being persuasive, articulate, others enjoying what you have to say, liking your style, or indeed you having more opportunity to get into the sorts of environments where you're liking what you hear, what you're seeing around you. Feeling support in a sisterly, brotherly kind of a way as well here. And if you want to settle a feud, or somebody does, then this is a really good time to be doing it. It's also a good time to, I don't know, give a speech, write a book, you know, work on a work of art, whatever it is. Yeah, that'd be a good time for it. And then, of course, with the Jupiter position as well, an excellent time to be doing anything creative like that over the whole, well, up until September anyway. So Mars is retrograde, as I mentioned before. This tends to blunt the sharpness of Mars. Mars is a planet of drive and aggression and assertion. So having to be indirect, strategic, you know. If possible, waiting till the retrograde is over if you have to launch a major initiative, I mean, major initiate even, but initiative, or like in a competition or a major fight or something. So having to just be kind of, just keep below the kind of the battlements, as it were, but you're watching, you're keeping an eye on it, you're doing stuff kind of behind the scenes to get ready for another sort of time, which is far more active and far more out there. So wait till the retrograde's over for that one, and that'll be happening on the 29th of June. And then we have, of course, Mars is in your opposite sign, so this is you having an exchange, very lively with us, but again, keeping it as sweet as you can, and indeed teaming up with someone, but don't dive in head first at full revs. That wouldn't be a good idea. And then very, very quickly, we have Saturn in the area of new beginnings, clearing the deck for new beginnings emotionally, but also physically with money and property and shared possessions, things that you're not just solely responsible, but which are connected to somebody else, whether that is to do with the roof over your head, or, you know, the possessions that you have, or whether that's an emotional, physical connection that you have. This is a time for removing certain aspects of it, or getting a new perspective on certain aspects of that, and writing a new contract or a new agreement, really, or indeed amending the old one. You Taurians born the 29th of April or to the 4th of May, or 10 to 14 degrees rising, are going to feel that the most. It's also a time of partings as well, because one or the other needs to move on. And Jupiter, planet of potential abundance, is very positively influencing your sun sign. As I said, great time for creativity for you Taurians, and also romance, and also connecting with children and young people. You Taurians born from the 2nd to the 7th of May, with 13 to 18 degrees rising, are going to feel that energy the most this month, and doing what empowers you, you know, getting rid of all the crap and just being like a child, and just doing the things that you really enjoy doing within the parameters of whatever situation you've got going on at the moment. And also you being very much the center of attention at times during this long transit, I think, as well. And that's it for May. If you know your rising sign and your moon sign, listen to those. And did I wish you a happy birthday? Well, if I didn't, happy birthday anyway. And this is written up on DianaGarland.com, and I'll see you the next time.